Welcome to the Certified Migrant Liaison Spring Training. We are so glad you're here. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be with us. For information about the Minnesota Migrant Education Program, check out our website, www.tvoc.org, our Facebook page, or you can contact us on our Minnesota Migrant Education Program hotline, 1-800-890-4853. The objectives for this training are to review contract requirements and deadlines, understand components of IDNR and eligibility, and understand processes and procedures. By advocating for our students and quickly providing support, we can help migratory students reach challenging academic standards in order for them to graduate and be productive citizens. Thank you for being here. You will be hearing from Chris Young, Claudia Melodic, and Linda Fournier throughout this training. Please write your questions down as you go. We will be having a question and answer session on March 8th at 2:30 p.m. I would like to point out the Minnesota Migrant Education Program hotline, 1-800-890-4853. This number will ring into the Lee Center office and any of us could answer the line. Tri-Valley Opportunity Council is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide opportunities to improve quality of life for people and communities. Within Tri-Valley, there are a number of programs such as senior programs, energy assistance, transportation, and the Head Start Child and Family Program, which the Migrant Education Services Department is part of. The Minnesota Department of Education contracts with Tri-Valley to collect all minimum data elements for migrant student records, manage the state migrant education database, which is MIS 2000, manage the national migrant education database, which is M6, conduct quality control measures such as re-interviews, determine eligibility for Title I-C migrant education program, and identify and recruit migrant children ages 0 to 21 who have not received a high school diploma or equivalent. Tri-Valley also has Migrant Seasonal Head Start that serves 0 to 5-year-olds and pregnant women. Some of our students overlap. Each program has different funding sources and regulations. I have included the list of Migrant Seasonal Head Start and Head Start centers with their contact information and schedules for your convenience. We have the Migrant Seasonal Head Start Centers in Bethel, Breckenridge, Elysian, Glencoe, Grafton, Monticello, Danube, Elgin, Owatonna, Sleepy Eye, and Winnebago. If you are near a Head Start center that has Migrant Seasonal Head Start, or if you are near a summer migrant education program, we would encourage you to reach out to them and contact them about the partnership agreement. We offer the partnership agreement in order to provide the highest quality and most seamless services for migratory children and families. It is important that the collaborators continue to establish and maintain a strong and healthy partnership. Migratory students move from many other states to Minnesota, but the majority of our students move here from southern Texas. Qualifying work includes seasonal and temporary jobs. In Minnesota, the top qualifying activity is packing, cleaning, and hauling peas. Migratory families also come to Minnesota to work with corn, picking rocks, harvesting sugar beets, milking and caring for dairy cows, caring for poultry, packing radishes, and caring for pigs, among many other activities. This list is not conclusive. Please contact us if you are unsure if an activity qualifies. Qualifying arrival dates are the dates that students have made a qualifying move to our state and have been identified. In May, June, July, and August, we have the majority of our qualifying arrival dates. In October and November, many of our families leave the state, but as you can see, throughout every single month of the year, there are qualifying arrival dates within the state of Minnesota. So students are moving around from district to district or state to state every month of the year. 76% of our eligible migratory students arrived during the school year. That's where you come in. The purpose of having a certified migrant liaison is to assist in identifying eligible migratory students. The identification and recruitment of migratory children is essential because the SEA must create a record of eligibility for each migratory child before he or she can receive any of the MEP's educational or supportive services. The longer it takes a state to find a migratory child, the more time passes before the child receives the extra services he or she needs to succeed. Furthermore, the children who are at most need of MEP services are often the most difficult to find. Migratory children who are not identified may experience problems such as delays in placement or incorrect school assignment, failure to count partial credits or inappropriate course sequence for graduation from the student's home-based school, and obstacles to receiving necessary supplemental services. Possible duties of the migrant liaison include ensuring that migratory students are identified by sending a recruitment request to Tri-Valley Opportunity Council, or to determine eligibility using a Certificate of Eligibility, a COE, but only if trained and certified. Advocate for migratory students and families and advocate for proper placement of the migratory student. Assist in providing grades and transcripts to Tri-Valley Opportunity Council. Provide enrollment and withdrawal dates to Tri-Valley Opportunity Council. Provide move notices in Migrant Student Information Exchange, which is also called M6, as necessary. Ensure that migratory students are enrolled in school and have access to and receive services which they are eligible for, such as free categorically eligible meals, Head Start and Early Head Start, and McKinney-Vento Act if qualified. The contract that was signed in the fall is in consideration for the completion of the following services. Designate staff for the role of Certified Migrant Liaison that will complete the eligibility training, pass the certification test, identify eligible migratory students, complete COEs, and attend required trainings. All contract requirements must be completed before an invoice is submitted for payment. Every year we have questions about the invoice. The invoice comes from your school district and it is billed to Tri-Valley Opportunity Council, attention Chris Young. The description would be 2021-2022 Certified Migrant Liaison Contract, and for whatever the contract amount was. This is just an example on the screen. Invoices must be received on or before June 15th, 2022. Scan the invoice to christine.young@tvoc.org with the subject line Migrant Contract Invoice, or you can mail invoices to Tri-Valley Opportunity Council Incorporated. Attention, Chris Young, 200 East Buller Street, Lee Center, Minnesota 56057. Once we receive the invoice, we will process it and a check will be mailed to your school district for the amount of the contract terms. If your district or charter school would like a parent employment survey to include in registration materials, please contact Tri-Valley Opportunity Council Migrant Education Services Department. The parent employment survey is available in English and Spanish. If a family answers yes on the survey, if there is a certified migrant liaison in your district, he or she should follow up with the family. If there is not a certified migrant liaison, fill out a recruitment request and a regional recruiter will follow up.
The identification and recruitment of potential migratory children and families is a shared responsibility with different recruiters across Minnesota. Regional recruiters are assigned to regions and cover a larger part of the state. They support migrant and recruiter liaisons. They are the connection for migratory students and families to services and resources in the community. Certified migrant liaisons determine MEP eligibility in their districts. They are the connection for migratory students and families to services and resources in their district and community. Recruiter liaisons determine MEP eligibility for the Migrant Education Program summer sites. They are also the connection for migratory students and families to services and resources in their district and community. Migrant liaisons do not determine MEP eligibility unless they become certified. Certified migrant liaisons are responsible for conducting an eligibility interview, to determine if a student is migratory for the MEP. New certified migrant liaisons need to shadow a regional recruiter before conducting their first solo MEP eligibility interview. This new process will ensure all IDNR staff have hands-on training to get comfortable conducting the interview. Ask families for different dates and times they may be available, and let them know that another IDNR staff member will be conducting the eligibility interview or listening in on the interview. Then submit a recruitment request to coordinate the interview with the family and a regional recruiter. Interviews may be over the phone or in person, depending on availability of all parties involved. Keep track of these shadowing sessions on the new recruitment staff checklist and submit to the Migrant Education Services Manager when complete. Be sure to follow all COVID-19 protocols that are in place to avoid transmission and limit exposure. Submit a recruitment request if you need assistance during parent meetings, open houses, or other large event where more than one person is needed to help determine MEP eligibility. The regional recruiter in your area will reach out to you. The MEP Eligibility Factors Checklist is a useful tool that can be used to help determine MEP eligibility. Keep in mind that if you use the checklist, your interview should be in a comfortable, casual conversation where you are asking non-leading questions to determine if the children and the worker meet the factors on this sheet. For a sample of interview questions, see the sample interview script that is shared from the Migrant Education Program National IDNR Manual. Here are some things to consider when using the MEP Eligibility Factors Checklist. Moves and qualifying activities from other states are considered in determining eligibility. The child does not have to move with the worker for recent history of moves. However, they must be in our state to be included on the COE. The worker's status date and the child's qualifying arrival date are not always the same. Babies born after the move are not eligible for the MEP. These BAM babies and other children who have graduated may be listed in the comments section of the COE. Factor 1. Child's age. The child is younger than 22 years old on the date of the interview. Factor 2. Child's school completion status. The child is entitled to a free public education through grade 12 under state law. For example, the child is not a high school graduate or does not hold a high school equivalency diploma, or the child is not yet at a grade level at which the school district provides a free public education. The Minnesota Department of Education recognizes diplomas or secondary school degrees and certificates of completion in lieu of a diploma issued by another country. Factor 3A. Child's qualifying move. The child moved within the 36 months preceding the date of the interview. The move made by the child was due to economic necessity and from one residence to another residence and from one school district to another school district. In this factor, you are only trying to determine if the child, not the worker, made a qualifying move. You will determine if the worker made a qualifying move in Factor 4A. Factor 3B. Child's qualifying move relative to the migratory agricultural worker or migratory fisher. The child's qualifying move in Factor 3A was with, to join, or to precede a parent, guardian, or spouse who is a migratory agricultural worker or a migratory fisher, whose status has been determined in Factors 4A and 4B. For Factor 3B, you are trying to determine if the child, not the worker, made the qualifying move with, to join, or precede someone who is a migratory agricultural worker or migratory fisher. Keep in mind there may be cases where the child is also the worker. In these cases, you are still trying to determine if the child made the qualifying move. Factors 1, 2, 3A, and 3B combined meet the definition of a migratory child. You may need to come back to Factor 3B if at this point you have not yet determined if the worker meets the definition of a migratory agricultural worker or migratory fisher. Factor 4A. migratory agriculture workers or migratory fishers qualifying move. The parent, guardian, spouse, or child, if the child is the worker, moved within the 36 months preceding the date of the interview, and the move made by the parent, guardian, spouse, or child, if the child is the worker, was due to economic necessity, and from one residence to another residence, and from one school district to another school district. Factor 4B. Qualifying work for the migratory agricultural worker or migratory fisher. After the qualifying move in Factor 4A, the parent, guardian, spouse, or child, if the child is the worker, engaged in new qualifying work soon after the move, or did not engage in new qualifying work soon after the move, but he or she actively sought new qualifying work and has a recent history of moves for qualifying work. The qualifying work is seasonal employment or temporary employment or personal subsistence, and the qualifying work is agricultural or fishing. Qualifying work for the migrant education program should be seasonal or temporary employment in agriculture or fishing. Seasonal employment occurs only during a certain period of the year because of the cycles of nature, and that by its nature may not be continuous or carried on throughout the year. Temporary employment lasts for a limited period of time, usually a few months, but no longer than 12 months. The eligibility flowchart is another tool you can use. It provides a visual of the eligibility factors checklist. Use whichever is most useful to you. Let's take a look at a couple of scenarios using the eligibility checklist. A family of 6 moved from Brownsville, Texas to Owatonna, Minnesota on June 17, 2020. The parents, Roberto and Carolina, and their older children, 21-year-old Jose and 18-year-old Carmen, start working packing peas a week later. Jose is out of school, and Carmen plans to go back to school in Texas when the season is done. They are working to help their parents. Roberto and Carolina want their younger children, ages 15 and 10, enrolled in the MEP for the summer. Are the children eligible for the migrant education program? Let's take a look at each factor to see if the children are eligible with their most recent move. The children meet Factor 1 because they are ages 21, 18, 15, and 10. They also meet Factor 2 because they are still entitled to a free public education through grade 12 under state law. The children meet Factor 3A because they made a qualifying move from Brownsville, Texas to Owatonna, Minnesota on June 17, 2020. The moves were due to economic necessity, from one residence to another residence, and from one school district to another. Do they meet Factor 3B? Did the children move as, with, to join or precede a migratory agricultural worker or migratory fisher? Let's take a look at Factors 4A and 4B to find out. Do the workers meet Factor 4A? They meet this factor because they made a qualifying move from Brownsville, Texas to Owatonna, Minnesota on June 17, 2020. The move was due to economic necessity, from one residence to another residence, and from one school district to another. Do the workers meet Factor 4B? Roberto, Carolina, Jose, and Carmen engaged in new qualifying work soon after their move. They started working packing peas a week later. That work is seasonal employment and agricultural work. Roberto, Carolina, Jose, and Carmen have established themselves as migratory agricultural workers. Do they meet Factor 3B? Yes, the children meet Factor 3B. However, they have different eligibility criteria. The 2 younger children moved with the migratory agricultural workers, and the 2 older children moved as the migratory agricultural workers. How many COEs should be filled out? You would need 2 COEs due to the different eligibility criteria for the children. Jose is an out-of-school youth and needs his own COE. Carmen does not need her own COE because she is still in school. Carmen and her younger siblings should be listed on one COE. Add a comment that Carmen is working and plans to go back to school. A worker and his family moved from Nebraska to Sleepy Eye, Minnesota on July 23, 2019, and engaged in work milking cows soon after the move. The recruiter interviews the worker, who states that he intends to work at the dairy farm for 5 months before returning to their home-based state. The migratory agriculture worker's 3 children, ages 5, 8, and 11, are determined eligible and receive MEP services. 4 months later, the migratory agriculture worker is offered full-time year-round work. His employment at the farm lasts a year and a half. On January 29, 2021, the family moves to St. Cloud, Minnesota, where he starts working as a package handler in a shipping warehouse. Are the children eligible for the MEP? The children meet Factor 1 because they are ages 5, 8, and 11. They also meet Factor 2 because they are still entitled to a free public education through grade 12 under state law. Let's take a look at each factor to see if the children are eligible with their most recent move. The children meet Factor 3A because they made 2 moves in the 36 months preceding the date of the interview. The moves were due to economic necessity, from one residence to another residence, and from one school district to another. Factor 3B. Did the children move as, with, to join or precede a migratory agricultural worker or migratory fisher? The worker meets Factor 4A because he made 2 moves in the 36 months preceding the date of the interview. The moves were due to economic necessity, from one residence to another residence, and from one school district to another. Does the worker meet Factor 4B? At the time of your interview, the worker is no longer a migratory agricultural worker because he milked cows for more than 12 months in the first move. In the second move, he did not engage in new qualifying work soon after the move. The worker no longer meets Factor 4B during this interview. Therefore, the children do not meet Factor 3B with their most recent qualifying move because they did not move with, to join, or precede a migratory agricultural worker. Can they still be served using MEP funds? Yes, the children are still eligible for the MEP because they have a current COE in our database that has not expired. The MEP has no reason to believe that the parent purposely provided misleading or inaccurate information when they were first interviewed and determined eligible. The fact that the work lasted longer than 12 months would not impact the previously established qualifying arrival date for the move to Sleepy Eye because the COE was based on the facts available at the time. The children's eligibility is for 36 months from July 23, 2019. They would not need a new COE filled out. Their current COE's comment section would need to be updated with the address of their new location. Anyone determining migrant eligibility must pass the Title I Part C Education of Migrant Children Eligibility Certification Test each year. The test can be taken as many times as necessary. Handouts, manuals, and other migrant resources can be used while staff are completing the test. Contact Claudia Melodic if you have any questions. Once you are trained and certified, your name will be added to our list of recruiters in MIS 2000, the Minnesota Migrant Education Program database. First, determine eligibility for the MEP, then complete a COE in MIS 2000 and review it with the interviewee before submitting it. The COE will go through the review, verification, and approval process. It's important that the COE is completed accurately to avoid delaying the process and providing services.
Tri-Valley Opportunity Council collects minimum data elements for each migratory student in Minnesota. This year, there were 1,012 eligible migratory students that enrolled in 256 schools in Minnesota. Coordinate with Tri-Valley Opportunity Council to ensure the proper identification, placement, and reporting of migratory children for the Title I Part C Education of Migratory Children. Be sure to check out the Migrant Education Program checklist for school districts that is on our webpage and ask yourself some of these important questions. Does your district have an indicator in the registration paperwork? A process for recruitment? Are all eligible migratory students receiving free meals? The migrant liaison that is listed at MDE-org will be our go-to person for anything migrant. If you are the certified migrant liaison, make sure you are listed as the migrant liaison in MDE-org. Does someone at your district have access to secure migrant identified student report? This report shows the migratory students that have been determined eligible in your district. It is in the data center at MDE's website. Reporting is crucial for a migratory student's success. Migrant liaisons should ensure that enrollment withdrawal dates, grades, transcripts, information on EL, IEP, and other minimum data elements of migratory students are reported in the MSIF to Tri-Valley Opportunity Council in a timely manner. Send grades and transcripts to Linda Fournier, the Migrant Education Services Data Systems Specialist at Tri-Valley Opportunity Council, when students leave the district or when he or she completes a course. If a student is moving, please be sure to send a move notification through M6 to the state and/or district/school that the child is moving to. Is the Migrant Student Information Exchange M6 national database being accessed to properly place students and minimize educational interruptions? Who has access? Who needs access? Contact Tri-Valley Opportunity Council Migrant Education Services Data Systems Specialist for more information. Do you know about MERC? Are teachers with at least one migrant student in their class accessing Midwest Migrant Educational Resource Center materials free of cost? If you would like more information about MERC, contact Rhonda Isaacs at Hamlin University. We are required to collect 76 minimum data elements, or MDEs, for each eligible migratory child. Missing MDEs or elements on your MSIF may cause a child to be excluded from the M6 child count and/or placed incorrectly in a school or class. It is extremely important to fill out your MSIF completely and as accurately as possible in a timely manner. Reports in M6 display the number of student records missing data for each MDE that is relevant to the child count. Please be sure to include every MDE. If you need access to MIS 2000, our Migrant Information System, or would like a refresher training, please contact Tri-Valley Opportunity Council's Migrant Education Services Data Systems Specialist, Linda Fournier. Here are some important reminders when filling out the Migrant Student Information Form, or MSIF. Use only the current school year, 2021-2022 information. For a medical alert, please mark the column with an A for acute, C for chronic, or N for none, but not yes. If you know where the students are moving to when they leave your district, please indicate the state, district, and school, if known, on the MSIF. If you do not know where the students are moving to, please indicate no in column X of your MSIF. Please indicate if you have done a move notice in M6 for the student in column AD. The deadline for all data to be entered in your MSIF is 5 days after the last day of school, but no later than June 15th, 2022. 7th through 12th grade transcripts or grades need to be sent or scanned to Linda Fournier at TVOC. We are not seeing a lot of activity in the scored below or credit deficient column. Please be sure to look at the instructions and comments in the MSIF if you are unsure of anything. Any updates made by the districts, please remember to change the font to red. Once the red has been updated in the MIS 2000 database, the font will be changed back to black. What if you have a migratory student that is not on the list that we have provided you? There may be a student that may not be on our list provided to you that is migratory. Please check to make sure they have been identified. Make sure they have a COE. Once confirmed, then add them to the Student Data tab. What if you know their eligibility is coming to an end? What should you do? Reach out to the family and check to see if they have any new eligible moves. If the family has made a new qualifying move, please complete an eCOE on MIS 2000. Since we incorporate the re-interviews into our state's IDNR process and manual, communicate to the families that there may be a second interview. You will also find re-interview information in the Minnesota Migrant Education Program Family Handout. Our state uses prospective re-interviewing for quality control. Prospective re-interviewing is a process that allows problems to be identified early and to know when and what steps are needed to correct them. After you have determined a family eligible, please explain the purpose of the re-interviews to the families so they are not alarmed by the re-interviewing process. COEs and families are just randomly selected for a re-interview by Tri-Valley Opportunity Council at any time throughout the year. Convey to the families the re-interviews may be face-to-face interviews, if feasible, but more than likely a phone re-interview will be conducted. Liddy Guzman is the Secondary Director for the Minnesota Migrant Education Program. She works closely with the Texas Migrant Interstate Program, TMIP. TMIP is available to use as a resource when working with students moving to or from Texas. For questions about secondary migratory students, credit recovery, student placement, or out-of-state assessments, contact Liddy. MERC, the Midwest Migrant Education Resource Center, is a lending library for any staff working with a migratory student. The process is simple. You choose the materials and resources you want. They send them to you to use for free. For more information, contact Rhonda Isaacs. Visit our webpage at www.tvoc.org. Click on Services, Migrant Education Program. There you will find subpages that you may be interested in. On the main page, you will see videos, information about the Migrant Education Program, the Minnesota Migrant Education Services Hotline, 1-800-890-4853, Notice of Authority to Request Records, information about eligibility, and the recruitment request. If you are a school district or charter school, you may want to check out the Migrant Liaisons tab. On this page, you will find the Migrant Education Program checklist for school districts. You may also want to check out the Migrant Education Services posters in English and in Spanish, as well as the brochures in English and in Spanish. If you are a migrant liaison, we highly recommend that you have access to M6. M6 is the Migrant Student Information Exchange. For more information about M6, go to the M6 page on our website or contact Linda Fournier. If you would like additional professional development, check out our Trainings tab. We offer a Making Connections workshop. If you are looking for something a little more customized, go ahead and check out our Requests tab. and click on Training Request. Once you fill this out, we will contact you to develop a training that fits your needs. On this page, we also have the recruitment request. If you would like a recruiter to determine if you or someone you know is eligible for the migrant education program, or if you would like recruitment in your area, click here. If you have any additional questions, contact us at any time. We would be happy to help. If you know of a migratory family with children ages 0 to 5, visit www.tvoc.org, then click on Services, Head Start Child and Family Programs, then choose Migrant and Seasonal Head Start or Migrant Child Care for information about programs that we offer for eligible Head Start families. You could also contact a center that is nearest you. Fill out a recruitment request by scanning this QR code or contact us on the Minnesota Migrant Hotline at 1-800-890-4853. Tri-Valley Opportunity Council Migrant Education Services Department provides a number of trainings and workshops. We are here to support you and would love to hear about how we can make improvements and what your needs are. Please give us feedback on what went well in the training provided and what can be improved. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today, and a special thank you for all of the hard work that you do as a certified migrant liaison. We truly appreciate all you do, and we know your work is critical to our students' success. Thank you.